All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College Application and Website Development, or AWD1100 Programming Fundamentals with C# course, I've been creating a series of video presentations that are based on the textbook, the PowerPoint slides for the textbook we're using for the class. That book being Muroc C# 7th edition that you see right here. So far, I have gone through and done all of Section 1, all of Section 2, most of Section 3. I'm skipping 13 and 15. And I've done Chapter 17. So we've lectured on Chapter 18 on link. Now I'm going to go through a link example, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. All right, when we get done with this, we're going to jump into databases. So I'm going to try something. I don't know if it'll work or not. You will be able to see whether or not it works as soon as we start. So I'm going to come in here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project. Why? Just because I want a new workspace. So I'm going to do an add here, new project, and let's see. I want to see what they're giving me here for types. Project templates, Windows format. This will be a class library. That's what we're going to try here. So we're going to try a class library next. All right, so it'll go into here. We have to give it a name, and we're going to call it our instructor library. All right, so that's going to be it. And notice it has its own namespace of instructor library. All right, so the first thing we're going to put in here is we're going to put in we don't need this class, to be honest with you. This comes with the library, and we don't need this, so I'm going to delete that. All right. Now, in our instructor library, I'm going to right mouse click, choose Add, choose New Item, and for class, I'm going to put in here Instructor. All right. We want this to be a public class instructor. And we want this to be inside of our instructor library. Now I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go over here to my person class, and we're just going to grab this. Now I'm going to grab all of the stuff that's in here. I'm going to have to make changes, so don't worry about it. All right, so let's close that and hit enter. Now I'm going to get errors. Don't worry about it. This is now going to become our full arc constructor for instructor. And each instructor will have a first name, a last name, and a department. All right, plus we've done our override already. So you know what? I think, for now at least, we're done with this instructor class. So this is our instructor class in our instructor library. All right, so File, Save All, and for now at least, maybe I'll open it later, but I'm going to close that. So our instructor library now has an instructor class in it. We're going to make another class in here. So I'm going to right mouse click again in my instructor library. Again, I'm going to choose Add. Again, I'm going to choose New Item. And again, I'm going to choose Class. But this is going to be called my Instructor Manager. Nothing special about the name other than that's what it's been meant to do. Okay, so. All right, so now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say public static list of instructor. Notice it picked that up from the IntelliSense. All right, and I'm going to call this load data. And if you say that doesn't make any sense, if you would please just bear with me. Now it's giving me this because this is supposed to be returning something, and it's not right now. Don't worry about that. All right. So this is going to be a var instructor list equals new list of instructor. Okay, that's good. Now we want to add things to this. What do I mean? I'm going to add all of the stuff that we need in order. So I'm going to add our 6 employees. So emp list instructor list dot add, and I'm going to put in here, I don't need this. I need to add a new employee, or a new instructor, I should say. I'm basing this off of something I've done in the past. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create 6 or 7 different instructors. Now, if you remember, we have these. So I'm going to grab all of this, and it's going to end up going in here, but it's going to give me errors if I put it in there now. So let me just put it in as some comments. So there we go. All right. So in here, what do I want to say? First name equals Charles. Last name equals Corrigan. Department equals information technology. So that will be our first one that we're adding in here. All right. And I'm going to literally come in here and I'm going to copy this. Now we've got it in there 7 times. Why? All right. Why? You're going to see why in just a moment. All right. We're getting errors here. There's no argument that corresponds to the formal parameter first name. Let's go back to our instructor class. And I'm going to comment these out. I talked about this in an earlier lecture, so I'm not going to go over it right now. And that, and that, and that. All right. Now let's see if that fixed my errors. It did not so far, but let's see. All right. So there's my first instructor. Don't worry about that error. All right, we're going to see if we can fix all this in just a minute. The second one that was in there is Brock Parsons in information technology. So we've got 1. We've got 2. The third one was Chad Grohearing. All right, our next one will be Thomas Anderson. He's our new instructor, and I think I'm got his name in there correctly. Our next one Three more is me. The next one is Mr. Gudmested, and let me steal this. All right, and the last one will be the one that we added. I think it was Mary Johnson in accounting. It doesn't even exist, but that's okay. Mary Johnson in accounting, that is correct. All right, so Mary Johnson, and that will be in accounting. All right, so the only thing that's left is to return that instructor list. All right, now it doesn't like something I'm doing here, so I'm going to have to go check on that. So let's see. Instructor list. Okay, so that's my instructor manager list. Employee, instructor, load data. Instructor list equals new list of instructors. That should be good. Dot add instructor. What doesn't it like here? String. List instructor. Well, I'm going to just check. I think if I put that in there, it's like this, it's going to give me errors. Now, let's see what happens if I go back to my class. I mentioned this previously that, this could very easily, this lecture you might never see it, because if I have problems, I'll go back and redo it. Okay. It's still giving me errors here. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to see if I can figure out what the problem on this is, and I'll come right back. All right, I think I've fixed all the quirkiness, and let me show you what I had to do in order to get this to work, because if you look in here right now, there are no errors showing. So I went back to the instructor class and literally got rid of in the instructor class, I got rid of the constructor and just put in my getters and setters and my override of toString. There are some kind of goofy rules and goofy ways that this stuff works. Sometimes you have to play around with it a little bit, and that's what I just gave you is not at all a great explanation, but I just am trying to be honest with you here. So that's my instructor class. My instructor manager now, to my knowledge, now works. So I've got this load data. There's the first, Charles Corrigan, the second, Brock Parsons, the third, Chad Groharing, the fourth, Thomas Anderson, the fifth, Jeff Scott, and the sixth, Evan Gudmested, plus the new one we added, and that should be Mary, not May Johnson. Mary Johnson. All right, then we return this instructor list. All right, to my knowledge, I am now finished with everything I wanted to do in there. Now I'm going to write a fairly long program that's not going to go in my instructor library, but it's going to go into a brand new project. So I'm going to right mouse click on here. I'm going to choose Add New Project. This will again be a console. Go back again. This will again be a console app.NET framework. This could be done doing a GUI, but it's going to result in less code with me doing it this way, which is why I am. So this is going to be LINQ example CH18 LINQ example link EX1. Okay, and click create. All right. Now, in order, notice if I come in here and I try saying, for example, in here, instructor, it doesn't recognize it because it's in a different namespace, but I should be able to come in here now and say using, and I should be able to add my I was hoping I could say using instructor library. All right, let's right mouse click on here and choose add and reference. All right, so projects, there's the instructor library right there. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to click OK. All right, now if I type in instructor I equals new instructor, what you'll notice, again, errors, but what you should have noticed is when I start typing in instructor, notice it recognizes the library. So now let's see, can I now come in and add this using instructor library? All right, so I've now added that to my program, and I can put that at the top because of, as always, we like to be in alphabetic order here. Okay, I didn't like that. Let's try that again. There we go. Now if I come in and type in instructor, then notice it's finding it. All right. So this is a great start. So let me come in here and let me do a couple things. As we get started, I'm also going to add in here using static system dot console, so I don't have to keep writing console dot all the time. It's not a big thing, but I'm going to do that. And let's write a comment in here. All right. So I'm going to make a big prologue here. I don't normally do this. But I'm going to call this here create the equivalent of an instructor database. Now, it's not a true database. All right. To do this, we have first, we created an instructor class that holds the first name, last name, and department. All right. Next, we created an instructor. We call this, I think we call it instructor manager or something like that. Yep. Then we created an instructor manager class that holds 7 Rankin Technical College employees. Finally, we are going to demonstrate some of the link features available in C#. Okay, that's it. So let's start by coming in here, and I'm going to create a bunch of global constants. Okay, and a lot of them probably will not make a boatload of sense until we get going. I'm just telling you that right now. All right, this is going to be a fairly long program. So these will be my global constants. All right, so first, const string nothing inputted equals, and I'll put in here, no value inputted for search criteria. Let me move this over so you can see, hopefully see kind of what's going on in here. So that's the first one. Again, I'm going off of something I made that literally is for a whole different application. All right, so I'm going to have here const string no first name found. Just call it that. That's fine. And what we'll put in there is no instructor first name matching criteria. All right. We not only do we need it for first name, but we need no last name. So that'll be no instructor last name. All right, matching criteria found, and this one will be no department found. Okay, so I have in here no value inputted for search criteria, no instructor first name matching criteria, no instructor last name matching criteria, no instructor department matching criteria. All right, good. All right, so those are my global constants. I will have one global variable. All right, and it'll be a static variable because it has to work with main. It'll be a list. It'll be a list of instructors. It'll be called instructors, and it'll be equal to our instructor manager dot load data. All right, so what this is going to do is instructors will now load in that data, and it'll load in that data basically from our instructor manager, so from here. All right, so I think I can close this. I think I can close this. I can close this, and I'm here. All right. So I'm in main. I'm going to try to run this, write this program so that it is modular as possible. So main is designed to be a driver. Rather than main doing a lot of work, it's going to call routines to do work. So int option, not even going to give it a value. Bool, run again. Typically I call that keep going, but that's fine. I'm going to set that equal to true, meaning I do want to run the program again. All right. While run again, option equals, now I'm going to get errors on these because I haven't written them yet. Show menu, call correct function, and run again equals another time. Now again, these have not yet been written, so I'm going to comment out these two, and now I'm going to start writing my show menu routine. All right, so all right. So let's write routine show menu right now. Now notice it's got to return an int because we're sticking it into option, which is an int. So static int show menu. All right, now I'm going to get, now that error is gone, but I get a new one because I'm not returning anything yet. So for now, let's just return 0, just so that error goes away. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to clear the screen. Now in the past, I had to write console.clear, and I can still write that. Notice it's no error. But since I came in here and put in using static system.console, all I need to actually put in here is clear. So clear the screen. All right, I am at already 29 minutes, so I'm going to write this first routine, and then I'm going to stop, and then I'll write the rest of it. Okay, so should work. All right, so after I do this, I'm going to have a string that's going to hold the option, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Remember, when I pick one, when I run the program, it's a string. But I'm also going to have an int, which I'm going to use for option chosen, and I'll just set that equal to 0 for right now. So this will be the value inputted. This will be the value inputted, all right, converted to int. Now, I'm getting something here, so let's see. Hopefully I'm not going to get any weird stuff happens with my machine, just so you're aware of that ahead of time. So I've got 2 warnings in here, but no errors right now. That's good. I'm also going to have a bool in here, which is going to be the result. And I believe nope, that's not it. All right, so I also am going to have a string in here that's going to be called menu str, which is going to be real big. So I'm going to put in here build the menu string. All right, so it's equal to start with, please choose one of the following options. All right. And now I'm just going to keep adding to this. In fact, let's just do it like this. That's fine. So menu str plus equals, and there are going to be about 4 or 5 options. All right, and this will say enter a 1 to show all instructors by last name ascending. Then we'll write another one. So enter a 2 to show all instructors by department ascending. We don't have a whole heck of a lot that we're putting in here. So let's enter a 3 to end the program. No. All right. So let's do one more here. Oops. And we will put in here please enter a 1, 2, or 3 now. Okay. And we will write menu str, and I'm going to say the option is going to be equal to readline. Now remember, it's possible when I do this that they're going to leave it empty, or they're going to put in something non-numeric, or they're going to put in something that's not between 1 and 9. So again, I'm in show menu here. Okay. So I've done all this. So this will be display menu string on screen. And this will be choose a menu option. All right. So when I come down to here, attempt to parse menu option chosen to an integer. So result, and remember result was up here, it's a Boolean. That's going to be equal to int dot try parse, And what do we want to parse? We want to parse option, and we want to put the result into option chosen. If parse did not work, error message, and try again. So if not result, meaning again, it did not work, we will do a write that says you must enter a number, exclamation point. Hit any key to continue. We'll put a read line in there. And then, you know what? We're just going to call show menu all over again, because that's where they are. All right. Otherwise, so else if we get down to this point, a number was inputted for the option and was correctly parsed into an integer. And I should say here, instead of a number, we'll say an integer. All right. Validate that the number, that the integer inputted was within range, i.e. what do we have here? 1, 2, or 3? 1, 2, or 3. All right. So else if option chosen is less than 1 or option chosen is greater than 3, don't know how I got that, but I did. So let me fix that and this. There we go. All right. So if that's the case, we want to write a different error message, do a read line and show menu. All right. Why don't we take this here that says you must enter a number, hit any key to continue. Let's make that a constant. Don't need a space there. So we will come up here and in our constants, we will do a const string, no menu option found. All right, you must enter a number, hit any, okay, so it's now no menu option found. So we will change that. I'm trying to clean this up a little bit, so. And in here, we want to write, you must enter a number between 1 and 3. And we'll say again, hit any key to continue. And again, I'm going to grab this. And what we wrote before was no menu option found. Here we'll put in INV for invalid menu option input. So INV menu option input. Menu option input. I'm going to move all these over now. All right. So they come in here. We ask them to enter one of the following options. Okay. Then we give a read line. So they enter it. The result gets put in here. We try to parse it. If the parsing didn't work, we tell them, no, it's not no menu option found. It should be I'm going to change this to non-numeric option. Which means down here I'm going to have an error there. So now we've got a non-numeric option. We'll stop and call the function all over again. If they get down to here, they put in a number. So we have to verify that it's a 1, a 2, or a 3. So if it's less than 1 or it's greater than 3, we call invalid menu option input, and we tell them to do it again. So if we get down to here, if we get to here, either a 1, 2, or 3 has been inputted. So return the valid option chosen variable. So we don't return 0, we return option chosen. All right. Now, we're not doing much of anything with this yet, but let's save it and at least make sure that so far it runs. Whoops. Got to go back and change my startup project to here. So please choose, okay, I didn't do anything as far as prettying this up, so let's try that again. So let's put in a \n before the beginning of each one of these. That should at least somewhat pretty it up. All right, so please choose one of the following options. Enter a 1 to show all instructors by last name ascending. Enter a 2 to show all instructors by department ascending. Enter a 3 to end the program now. All right, now it says enter. It says again, enter a 1 to show all by. So I must have this in there twice. Please enter a 1, 2, or 3 now. If I leave it blank, you must enter a number, hit any key to continue, and it calls it again. If I enter a number that's out of range, you must enter a number between 1 and 3, and it calls it again. Okay, so that's good. So please enter a 1, 2, or 3 now. Here we do want a space. And I put that 1 in there again. I don't know why. So let's try it one more time. All right. So enter a 1 or a 2 or a 3. If I leave it blank, you must enter a number, and it asks again. If I put in something non-numeric, you must enter a number, and it asks again. If I put in something out of range, you must enter a number between 1 and 3 and do it again. So as of right now, everything works. Now, if I do put in a 1, nothing happens. If I put in a 2, nothing happens. And if I put in a 3, nothing happens. Why? Because I haven't put in the code yet to make something happen there. All right? So now what I can do is I can call the correct function. All right. That will end up coming in here next. Static void call correct function. And there's nothing to do in there yet. But let me go in and, because I'm trying to pretty this up as I'm going here. Cheat a little bit here. All right, that's good. Now, as you'd probably guess, and I'm going to stop in just a moment, this will call the correct method. All right, there's only going to be 3 of them in here. All right. So let me stop, and then I will pick it up right here in just a couple moments.